you will get a fair warning before we get into spoilers for Picard season 3. I promise you. But I want to talk overall impressions of the entire season. Just my quick impressions. I love this. Why haven't they been doing this with Star Trek all along? I attempted to watch the first 2 seasons of Picard, found it utterly ridiculous, leaning into all the woke tropes, like the key to everything is this young woman, girl boss stuff, luxury wokey nonsense. It was everything that's wrong with modern entertainment can be seen in the first 2 seasons of Picard. It's an embarrassment. Terry Matalas, who has been involved with Star Trek a long time. He also did the 12 Monkeys television series, if you are familiar with that, comes along as a lifelong, not just Star Trek fan, Star Trek The Next Generation fan. Terry Matalas was a PA on the original Star Trek The Next Generation series. This guy lives, breathes, eats Star Trek. It's in his DNA. Comes along and somehow Terry Matalas is thrown, you just do season 3 of Picard, do whatever you want. He basically made a 10-hour Star Trek The Next Generation movie that it's better than any of the Star Trek The Next Generation movies, including First Contact. Pays tribute to, there's so many you don't need to know the Easter eggs, but there are all sorts of little Easter eggs and nods to previous episodes, including the very first episode of Star Trek The Next Generation, including nods to characters like Deanna Troi, including nods to legacy characters from the original Star Trek series from 1966. And this shows you how you take an existing franchise, respect the legacy characters, introduce new characters like Captain Shaw, played by Todd Stashwick, the actors who played Geordie LaForge, LeVar Burton's daughter. Geordie LaForge has 2 daughters in this series, and they're really good, well-rounded characters. It's such, it respects these characters in such a way. And also, people act like people who are at Starfleet, meaning it's not all about how I feel about something. No one cares how you feel. Shields up, arm photon torpedoes, turnabout. I don't care about your feelings. Starfleet is a military organization. Modern Star Trek is garbage, with the exception of this. This is an anomaly. I'm not sure I've got faith that it won't return to the sort of garbage that has turned me off from Star Trek. I have attempted to watch it and just found it insufferable. This is everything you love about Star Trek, in particular, the characters. And here's what I would argue. What's been a disappointment about whenever they make a Star Trek movie, because I think Star Trek is best as a television show. It just is. Star Trek is best as a TV show. It is episodic television. Certain episodes can explore ideas. You can bring in guest characters and give them featured spots. You can take characters that are minor characters and do a whole episode that focuses on Deanna Troi and her mother, or Worf and his relationships. You can take these other characters you see and really build them up. And what Picard season 3 does in 10, the episodes vary between like 40 and just over an hour minutes. It gives characters that would normally be sidelined in a movie, and it features them full front and center. Characters everything pays off. There's not a wasted line of dialogue in this show. I mean, and I will say this, there are a couple moments in the series where I lost it. They even brought back characters I never thought we would see again and gave them great moments, shocks, surprises, twists, and turns. I was riveted. It does what television does when it's at its best. I couldn't wait to see what happened next. I wasn't able to binge it. I watched each episode week to week. And not just the music, there is starship porn in this. like just lovingly. And this is not an original thought, but the starships are characters in this movie. The Titan, which is a starship in this series, that's a character in the film, in this series. There are other things in it. I don't want to get into spoilery stuff. You will be forewarned. But my overall impressions, one of the best TV, it's the best Star Trek I've seen in I can't remember how long. It's a fitting end to the Star Trek The Next Generation series and characters, much better than that god-awful Nemesis, which I thought was terrible. Picard season 1 and 2, don't watch it. Don't watch it. Just watch season 3. And I'm really curious to see not only what the ratings are for Picard season 3, but also what the retention is. Because we learned from Rings of Power that only 1/3 of the people that began watching Rings of Power finished it to the very end. That means you lost more than 60% of your audience said, "Nah, I'm out. I don't want to watch it to the end." I'm really curious to see not just the number of people who watched it, but the number of people who finished the show through the 10 episodes. Now, I did report last week that I went to see the Picard season 3 finale. The last 2 episodes played at IMAX screens. And I went there to try to get tickets. Well, guess what? And I was wearing like a Star Wars t-shirt, and under it I had a Star Trek t-shirt, and it says I'll switch from Star Wars to Star Trek for Picard tickets. Well, guess what? I went to the AMC Burbank 16 and it wasn't even playing there. GoFobo is a terrible service. GoFobo didn't work. They had originally listed AMC Burbank 16 as one of the locations where you could get tickets. So I thought, well, I'll just go there. Well, then it's not there. I couldn't even get on the website to see what movie theaters it was playing in. Fathom.
I had the exact same experience. I'll tell you that.
Exactly. Fathom Events, amazing, sir. I buy tickets to Fathom Events things all the time. Love that service. Retrospective screenings, small independent films. I've seen Godzilla movies like The Big Lebowski came for $4.20. You could see it from Fathom Events. GoFobo is garbage. I didn't get in. I didn't even get in. GoFobo is GoFubar, says Uncle Remus, and you're right. So I didn't get in. Didn't matter. I saw it the next day, and I loved it. Alan, your first impressions, just give your sort of, what are your thoughts? And then we will give you a fair warning when we get into spoilers, because I want to talk specifics. If you consider specific scenes, moments, lines, spoilers, and you haven't seen the entirety of season 3, bow out, but you will get a fair warning. Alan, your basic thoughts.
My thoughts. I loved Picard beginning to end. And it saddens me to say this, but we have finally seen the final good Star Trek that will ever exist in all of time and humanity. When it ended, especially the way it ended, and I'm talking the ending, made me feel sad, because there's no payoff after this. We have seen the best that Star Trek can offer, has offered in the last 10 years, and we will never see anything of this quality again. And I'm very sad about that. But at the same time, I'm glad I saw it. Now, here's the thing. I'm going to set you up, Chris, but throughout the entire series, my understanding is all the legacy original TNG characters make appearances. Did they finally bring them all together?
Okay, here's the other thing. You're setting me up to get mad. You're setting me up to get angry. What was great? They brought all these characters from Star Trek: The Next Generation back, and it happens sort of little by little throughout the series. They put them all in a scene together.
Yeah. Not only that, in the original series, none of them, they're never together on the bridge at a time of crisis. They're always in there. This one,
Well,
they're all on the bridge.
no. It eventually you get they're all together.
Yes.
Not just in scenes that are dramatic. They're together around a table. They're together on the bridge. They're on the. It's they brought the old characters together and they had them do things. And each character had a role. Each character had an arc, and it all paid off. And they're in scenes together. Unlike freaking Star Wars, you're making the sequels to Star Wars, the biggest movie franchise ever in history, the original Star Wars movies. You have Harrison Ford, Carrie Fisher, Mark Hamill, and they're not in one effing scene together. That is, you should have fired Kathleen Kennedy after that first movie. F Disney Star Wars. This guy, Terry Matalas, I sent out a tweet and I was joking with him on my personal Twitter. I said, because I watched episode 9 of the Picard series, and there's like this thing that happens in that episode that is so freaking cool. I wept. I freaking cried watching a Star Trek show, which I feel stupid even admitting this to you. But I said episode 9 of the Star Trek season 3 of Picard, of season 3 of Picard, is the best episode 9 of anything I've ever seen. Was I trolling Star Wars people? I was, because everyone working at Lucasfilm that didn't think for a minute, we're making new Star Wars movies, Han, Luke, and Leia, we got to reunite them for one last adventure. And let me point this out, which is really angering to me, which is really upsetting, is that someone could have argued, well, no one wants to see the adventures of an old Han Solo or an old Luke Skywalker or an old Princess Leia. Let me tell you this. Picard season 3, the youngest actor in the cast from the season 3 of Picard is LeVar Burton, who is 66 years old. Okay, 66. Patrick Stewart is 80. Gates McFadden, who plays Beverly Crusher, is 74 years old. She looks amazing. They're all old. Michael Dorn, who plays Worf, they're all older people. This is so badass, exciting. You couldn't make a Star Wars movie with Han, Luke, and Leia? F you! You did that to me on purpose, didn't you?
Yeah, I just
I
would think that you would have been the one to have called this one out. I mean, you pointed out perfectly. The problem with the Star Trek movies is the entire cast. It usually is focused on Riker and Picard, and everyone else is supporting characters. This one, everyone had their chance to shine, whether it was earlier in the series or Crusher at the end. She does something amazing, and it's for someone who just I was with Next Generation from start to finish. I'm sad. I'm sad this is over. Okay, here's how you save. This is how you save Star Trek. You watch Picard season 3. You talk about it. You love it. You tell everyone you love it, and then this needs to get support during award season. When the Emmys and with Critics' Choice, when all those comes out, we need to support the show. This is clearly the best television going on right now, and it needs to gain attention to say that this season of this show is the greatest science fiction, greatest television we have right now.
Well, it should.
We've got to support this. We got to support the people behind this, because the way they set up, if this ever continues, the way they set it up, I'm in. I'm totally in.
But it's not what they did was, I don't want to say anything. You could do more Star Trek like this.
Mm-hmm.
You could do
they set it
more.
Up. Matalas set himself up for a job for life.
I hope that he is the new shepherd of Star Trek, because he gets it. He understands fans. He understands what they're looking for, and it doesn't feel fan servicey. Yeah, can I the difference like with fan service? Okay, fan service is you've got Finn, John Boyega's character in the Star Wars sequels, the first one, The Force Awakens. He's looking through the Millennium Falcon. He's looking for something and pulls out this little ball that is this device that Luke battles with when he's learning to use his lightsaber. That's fan service. It's like, oh, look, I know what that is. I know what that is. But when you see the way that something that could be considered that in Picard, it's handled with reverence and love and meaning. There's a okay, we should probably say we're getting into spoilers now, but we're not going to do major spoilers. It's just going to be moments. If you haven't seen all of the show, there are moments. But we're not going to get into spoilers in terms of plot or story, but we need to talk about certain moments. So, Finn's character pulls out that ball and you're like, haha, I know what that's from. That's all. It's Star Wars. It's jangling keys. It's look at this, look at this, look at this. You know what that is. Look at this. Back to tank. You know what this, look at this. Whereas in this series, it all meant something. It was meaningful. And whenever there was something that you recognized from the old show, it had weight. There's a, okay, so it's not a cameo, but you see Denise Crosby's character from Star Trek The Next Generation is in this in a way that is so clever, that is so, it actually has weight. It means something.
It's vital to what was going on in the scene at that time.
Right, which is Data is battling Lore in his mind. And Denise Crosby's character, why am I spacing on her name right now?
Tasha Yar.
Tasha Yar. They had relations. Data and Tasha Yar had. Data is fully functional, by the way. And Tasha Yar, you see Tasha Yar, but has meaning. And you see that, and it's like, oh, it's used in such a good way. And it's not lingered upon, it's there, but you know what that is. And also, if you don't know what it is, it doesn't matter. But if you know what it is, like, oh, he's losing, his memories are going away. And this is a memory he has of this woman who he clearly had some feelings for, right? So it's used so well. They're not member berries for member berries' sake. Everything matters. And I will say this, why is episode 9 so great? It's such a buildup with the first 8 episodes of getting to like, what is this mystery? You have this amazing, Amanda Plummer plays this character named Vatic, who is fantastic as this chain smoking villain in this ship called the Shrike, which is a great villainy spaceship name, the Shrike. And Vatic is after the Titan. It's got sort of Star Trek II Wrath of Khan vibes. And it is so good. The other thing is when you realize that, do you realize that in this entire show, they never go to another planet? It's what they would call, and this is like for people that talk about Star Trek a lot, it's what they call a bottle episode. Bottle episodes all take place on starships. They never go to other locations because that's expensive. It's expensive to have location shoots, or it's expensive to shoot, like you have to build a different set that's on a planet. If you're just shooting in hallways and bridges and meeting rooms and whatnot, or engine rooms, like those are called bottle episodes. So this show was made very inexpensively, and it's the writing that makes it. Here's my rule. Here's my rule of like how I know something is really good. And we're going to go to your comments soon. If I am watching some entertainment, right, a form of entertainment that's specifically in the sci-fi fantasy realm, superhero realm, whatever. And if the best scenes in that thing that I'm watching are the special effects and action sequences, that's an indicator that it's not very good. But if the best and most memorable scenes are two people talking to each other, literally characters in a room talking to each other about dramatic events that are occurring, and if those scenes are as riveting and exciting, if not more so, then the action sequences, which is okay, that's the sizzle, right? That's the sizzle. But the meaning is added when the dramatic scenes are so powerful, are memorable, and are quotable. And one of my favorite lines from the last episode, if you haven't seen it yet, out of context here, I'm just going to tell you, Worf says, Riker is admonishing Worf, this whole time you had a phaser? You didn't use it? And he said, Worf says, but swords are fun though. I want that on a t-shirt, but swords are fun though.
I will say this.
Everyone's at the top of their game, and it makes me want to go back and watch the original Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Wait.
I love this show, and this is the closing of the chapter. It's like they took the season season finale or a last season of Star Trek: The Next Generation, melded it with the epic scale of a movie with all of Starfleet. I mean, like all of Starfleet is in peril here, and we're somehow able to solve all this. Plus, it involves, and this is in the first episode, is the first or second episode, it's revealed, Captain Picard has a son named Jack, and all of the way this all plays out is so well planned, so epic. I cannot praise it enough. And something like this needs to be successful to let them know, like, hey, this is what we respond to. This modern entertainment storytelling is BS. None of that, more of this. Sorry, Alan, I interrupted you.
Yeah, this whole series, like I mentioned on Wednesday, I just finished watching Dick Tracy, the serial, The Adventures of Captain Marvel, the serial. This is a serial. Every goddamn episode ends with this cliffhanger where you're literally saying to yourself, how the hell are they going to get out of this one? The most memorable cliffhanger in this season was Riker throwing Picard off the bridge because he essentially killed everyone on the ship. And I'm like, God damn it, how are they going to fix this one? How are they going to? And then at the end of episode 9, instead of one of this tragic cliffhangers, it was the Enterprise is back. And the crew is going back to their home, and and you knew right off the bat, you knew even before the last episode was they're gonna save the day on the old Enterprise. And I'm like, okay, this is an amazing series. This is everything I wanted as a fan of The Next Generation.
This is not just this as a fan of Next Generation. Why couldn't that? William Shatner's alive. Yeah. And not only is William Shatner alive, he is spry and ready for action. Yeah. I saw an interview with him that was conducted recently in March at the South by Southwest Film Festival. Go to the South by Southwest YouTube channel. There's an interview with William Shatner done by Tim League of the Alamo Drafthouse that Tim can't keep up with Bill. Yeah. Make something with Shatner. Have a proper send-off to Captain James T.
He has a freaking documentary out right now, and he just talks about life, his philosophy of life.
There's a review of that documentary at filmthreat.com.
I wrote that one.
Yeah, you wrote it. It's called My Name is Bill.
You can call me Bill.
No, you can call me Bill. That's right. You can call me Bill.
Yeah.
But it's if only the reverence and the utter Terry Matalas understands Star Trek. Mm-hmm. He understands character. He knows good writing. Obviously, he wrote and directed many of the episodes. Not all of them, but I was just I can't wait to get this on a 4K Blu-ray. I mean, I'll watch it streaming again, whatever, but I want to get the Blu-ray of this. That's how good this is. I've not been this excited about anything Star Trek since, I don't know, I can't remember.
No, probably First Contact, maybe.
Maybe First Contact. It's really like, yeah. And it's also, if only this type of respect for legacy was what was part of the new Star Wars, we wouldn't constantly be talking about why Star Wars is dead. The people that are running Star Wars right now have no idea what they're doing. Now, that's not an original take. A lot of people have said this. It just makes me sad for what could have been when Carrie Fisher was still alive. So, F Disney.
I hate to say it, but this conspiracy theorist in me says that this is all intentional. That maybe intentional? That the destruction of the things we love, that our generation, Gen X, loved.
Yeah.
Yes, it just seems like there's just slow dismantling of all that.
Like
things we love.
The dismantling of heroes, because the new heroes are the better ones, because they have the better ideas, because we're living in the present, and all those things you guys used to do 10 years ago, you're awful. By the way, see Attack of the Doc, because there are comments on that. Attack of the Doc comments on what many call presentism, which is viewing the past through the lens of the present as a way to judge the past. My documentary, Attack of the Doc, a little bit of commentary there, nothing lectury, just good films ask questions, and bad films tell you what to think. That's sort of who said that? We were talking about this last night at dinner.
Which one was it? What was the quote again?
The quote is, good films ask questions, and good entertainment asks questions. Bad entertainment tells you what to think. We are living in an age of bad entertainment. We're just living in an age of where most entertainment is bad, not just for regular reasons of that was just a bad movie, not a woke movie, not a lectury movie, just a bad movie. Okay, those have always existed. But good entertainment asks questions, meaning you're free to come up with your own answer to those questions. So there you go. Think about that for a moment.
I will note that the episode 9, when basically everyone under 25 turned into Borg and become this collective hive mind. I don't know if you saw in Chicago, there's this publicity stunt for that episode where all the teens kind of gathered in the park, and never mind. Keep going.
Could Alan, you might want to repeat that. What were you saying again? What were you saying about the Borg?
That's right. I'm sorry. Yes. No. In as part of episode 9, when all the teens are turned into Borg in this one collective hive mind, they did a publicity stunt for that in Chicago.
Your humor, Alan. Your humor. No. Actually, but I found that you could read into it, right? When sort of hive mind takes over, you could read something into it that young people are kind of possessed by a mind virus. The mind virus has taken over society, or it is attempting to take over society in all levels, in our institutions, in our colleges and universities, and even our schools, our elementary schools, in entertainment. There is a mind virus that is taking over. I don't think that necessarily Picard season 3 is directly commenting on that, but you could read some things into it.